Right now, the Middle East is at a boiling point. Tensions that have been simmering for a long, long time are really threatening to erupt, and it feels like we're entering a new and pretty dangerous chapter for the entire region. So let's get right into it and break down what's happening, why it's all happening now, and what it could mean for the rest of us.
This one quote really just says it all, doesn't it? We're seeing direct military confrontations between old rivals, global alliances are shifting, there's political turmoil. It's like a perfect storm of instability. Honestly, this is one of the most dangerous moments the region has faced in a very long time.
Which, of course, leads to the big question on everyone's mind. And look, there's no easy answer here. But by looking at the key factors, the real drivers of this tension, we can start to get a clearer picture of where this might be headed. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Okay, so to really get a grip on where this is all going, we first have to understand the pressures that are building up just under the surface. Let's break down the 4 key tensions that are basically fueling this entire fire.
See, this isn't just one thing. It's 4 huge pressures all colliding at the same time. First up, you've got these major power struggles, right? Think of the historic rivalry between Iran and Saudi Arabia. That's only getting more intense. Second, these conflicts are spilling over into devastating proxy wars. Countries like Yemen and Syria have become battlegrounds for these bigger powers. Third, there's a constant fight for control over strategic routes. Whoever controls waterways like the Strait of Hormuz basically controls the flow of the world's oil and trade. And finally, you have all this internal instability. People in the streets protesting, economies struggling. It all adds up to that perfect storm we were talking about.
Now, it's really tempting to look at all this and think of it as a distant problem, something happening over there. But what happens in the Middle East almost never stays in the Middle East. The instability there sends shockwaves across the entire globe, and that's what we're going to dive into next. And this, right here, just perfectly illustrates the reality of our interconnected world. A single decision, one small skirmish, it doesn't just stay put. The ripple effects can be felt thousands of miles away, often in ways you wouldn't even expect. So, how does this actually affect you? Well, for starters, instability can cause oil prices to spike, and you feel that directly at the gas pump. It can send global financial markets into a panic, which could impact your savings. It also forces countries to rethink their alliances and military plans, which could potentially draw your own country deeper into the situation. And of course, it leads to these absolutely devastating humanitarian crises that the whole world has to respond to. With the stakes being this incredibly high, we have to look ahead. So based on where things are headed, experts are warning of 3 main outcomes. Let's walk through what the future could possibly hold. The first scenario, and probably the one everyone fears the most, is a direct escalation. The source material is pretty clear that one tiny spark could ignite a massive fire. A simple miscalculation, a clash at a border, it could spiral out of control so fast, pulling all the neighboring countries into a huge regional war. The second possibility is that we see more international involvement. This is when the global superpowers decide they can't just sit on the sidelines anymore. Now, this could be an attempt to cool things down, but it also carries this huge risk of raising the stakes even higher, turning a regional fight into a global standoff. And the third path is one of fragile peace talks. This is the more hopeful outcome, obviously, where diplomacy wins and things calm down for a bit. But the key word here is fragile, because if you don't address the deep-seated issues causing the conflict in the first place, any peace deal might just be a temporary pause button. But, beyond all the geopolitical analysis, the maps, the strategy, there's a reality that we just can't afford to overlook, and that's the profound human cost of all of this. It is so important to remember this. These are not just news alerts on your phone or abstract political games. Behind every single headline are millions of real people with real lives that are being completely turned upside down. The real price of all this tension is paid by ordinary people. We're talking about families forced to flee their homes, often with nothing. We're talking about an entire generation of kids growing up surrounded by violence, their futures just stolen from them. And we're talking about communities with centuries of history and culture, now just struggling to rebuild from the rubble. That is the real cost. So to wrap this all up, it's crystal clear that the Middle East is at a major crossroads. A single decision, one mistake, could change everything. Not just for the region, but for the entire world. The need to pay attention and stay informed has really never been greater. We've laid out the framework for you to understand what's at stake. But this story is still being written, in real time. The world is watching. So the final question is, are you?